everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to Look Back. This is a video series that I do here on the Dice Tower, where I take a look at reviews that I did a year ago, 5 years ago, and 10 years ago. And I tell you what I think about those. So let's jump back to last year. So last year, I reviewed several games here. First I took a look at Tumble Town, which is a game from Weird Giraffe Games about building a little western town with dice. Very nice little game. It doesn't scale very well. It ends too quickly with 4 players, but works really well for 2, so 7, but keep that caveat in mind. Battle Ball, this is an old game. Used to be sold at Toys R Us. 2 football teams. You roll different dice based on their bases, which is their speed and fighting. Random, but a lot of fun. 7 out of 10. Fake That. This is a party game about answering questions, and most of the people are answering incorrectly, and you have to figure out who. Some interesting ideas. Could have used a little bit more finesse maybe on the questions, but I like the system. 7.5. Brian Boru, High King of Ireland. This is a trick-taking game that is also an area control game, and there's a little bit more going on. It's the most complex, biggest trick-taking game out there, but I like it, and also some nice history in it. 7.5. And then a year ago, I reviewed Ark Nova. 10 out of 10. Love this game. Love everything about it. I love the cards that you use to pick your actions. I love the theme of building a zoo. It's just an amazing game. Tremendous. All right, 5 years ago, hashtag me. Party game trying to, hey, pick a funny hashtag. Not that good. 4 out of 10. That's actually bad. Abandoned Planet. This one, another 4 for me. From Don Eskridge, who's known for doing things like Coup, Orange Machine. His company was going to make all these games that are 6+ players. This one is just too much going on. Not very fun. Agra. This I gave a 5 to. This is a big game. Now, it has some component issues. The game is like on a tilt, and also pieces fall over and roll down. That's very problematic. But the game itself, just too much work for too little payoff. Codenames Marvel. Now, I like Codenames. I dropped this one to a 6 because I like Marvel a ton. I like Codenames a lot. There's just so few people to play this with. It hasn't come out since I got it, so I dropped it from a 7 to a 6. Dead Men's Doubloons is a 6.5. From Thundergriff Game, an idea, really beautiful components, outguessing everyone else, and it just came shy of just coming together. Another game that just came shy of coming together is Halloween. This is from Quinid Games. It's a not very Halloween, it's Halloween themed, but it's kind of a worker placement, but it just doesn't end. It's not as smooth as I like it to be. 6.5. Einstein, his amazing work, and what's the whole line here? An Incomparable Science. This is from Artana Games. This is a 7 for me. A neat idea here of going through Einstein's life. The theme is very strong. The gameplay is good. It comes together well. The Palace of Mad King Ludwig, which according to Board Game Geek is the re-implementation of the castles of Mad King Ludwig. That's not true. It's a very different game. It's not as good as the castles, but it is, you are all building the same palace. So there's that. The palace is going to be bigger in this game. You're placing different pieces out there and scoring for swans and things like that. It's a solidly good game. 7 out of 10. Hardback. This is the sequel to Paperback. Very similar, although Hardback is more of a gamery game. A deck building game mixed with word game, which doesn't sound like it will work, but it does. 7.5. Merlin. This is a game that I think has grown on me. And now I want to point out my rating here, 7 to a 7.5, excludes the expansion. With the expansion, I think it would even go up to an 8. And there's a lot of expansions in the big box, but I think it was the Legend of King Arthur or something was the first expansion that I really liked. But Merlin, a game with a big giant's rondelle in it. Stefan Feld is one of my favorite games he's made. Cat Lady from Josh Wood. This is a game in which you are taking a row or a column and just collecting things. A nice little drafting system. It was remade later as Dog Lover. And even though I like dogs better than cats, the cat game is better. 8 out of 10. And then Cursed Court. Cursed Court is a game that I really enjoy. I think it's a lot of fun. It's an auction game, but you have a limited amount of resources as you go through this auction game, like chips. But it also kind of feels like a party game. Fantastic. I've upped my rating to an 8.5. 10 years ago, I took a look at Redneckopoly, 1 out of 10. I'm not even sure why I looked at it back then. I'll never look at it again. Viva Java, the coffee game. Now, Viva Java, the coffee game, the dice game, is very good. This one is just too much going on, and there's not enough payback from it. 5 out of 10. Spice Merchants. This is from Gary Kim, kind of a stashing cards. The description on Board Game Geek says it's just like a Knizia game, which is a little true. It's just missing a bit, so 5.5. Space Cadets. Now, this is a pretty big drop here from an 8 to a 6. Jeff Engelstein, the designer of Space Cadets, in fact, we had him on the show earlier this week. I like a lot of stuff that he does. The concept of Space Cadets is neat. Each person is playing their own mini game. But every time that I've taught this game, it just doesn't work very well. Someone doesn't understand their section. Everyone plays a different section. It's one of the first asymmetrical games out there, and a lot of it works well, and with the right group, it can be amazing, but that right group is few and far between. Samurai Sword, this is a re-implementation of Bang, just with the samurai theme on it, 7 out of 10. Brave Rats is a good 2-player back and forth. I believe it was originally called RR, not the RRR, it's one of those games, but Brave Rats is a newer version of that, and it's a nice back and forth, outguess the other person. Guildhall, weird cover from AEG Games, but a nice little game about collecting different sets of people in front of you, and each of the sets does a different thing, and then I think there's like 4 different versions of Guildhall you can mix together. 7 out of 10. Trains, 7.5. Now, I said this could rival Dominion if they came out with expansions. They did come out with a couple expansions for Trains, but you know what? It never did catch up. This is basically Dominion with a board. But I think Dominion's cleaner without the board as time goes by. I was very enamored with Trains, but it has cooled a bit. Still 7.5. I don't remember what my original rating was. I want to say maybe it was an 8.5. Exodus Proxima Centauri. This one makes me sad. This is an 8 out of 10. This would be even higher. I played the 3rd edition of this game, which I think is fantastic, but did not fund on Kickstarter. As it is, it's a nice, smaller Twilight Imperium. That's basically what it is. Robinson Crusoe. This one I'm dropping just a bit from an 8.5 to an 8. I love this game coming out. I still enjoy it. It's just too hard, and every time I play it, I have to relearn it just to teach it. And I played this game a lot. There's just a lot of rules. It's still good, but it's a lot of work to get into. No Thanks, just a fantastic game. 8.5. Take a card or throw a chip on it. If you take the card, you get all the chips. Chips are good, cards are bad. Simple. And then the Manhattan Project. I originally gave this an 8, but I think I'm upping it to an 8.5. I really like the theme, the idea of energy and building these atomic bombs. You're not actually using them in the game. There's still a few things. I think they could have dropped airplanes out of the game completely, but the idea of putting out workers or pulling all your workers back, this game did it very well. I recently played this in the past year, and I was like, wow, this game really, really has held up over time. So anyway, those are the reviews that I did 1, 5, and 10 years ago. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time on Look Back.